let's continue reading our new book for the year, Food for the Heart, the collected teachings of Ajahn Chah. Yesterday, we have finished reading the foreword. It was a short one. Today, we are going to read the introduction, and it's a lengthy one, 30 plus pages. So it's divided into different sections. So the whole introduction itself, if we read this every day, we might finish it in 1 week or more. So each of us maybe can read around two paragraphs each, and take turns. I will begin. Introduction. Night is falling swiftly. The forest reverberates with the undulating buzz of countless crickets and the eerie rising wail of tropical cicadas. A few stars poke dimly through the treetops. Amid the gathering darkness, there is a pool of warm light thrown from a pair of kerosene lanterns, illuminating the open area below a hut raised up on stilts. Beneath it, in the glow, a couple of dozen people are gathered around a small, solidly built monk who is seated cross-legged on a wicker bench. The air is filled with a vibrant peace. Venerable Ajahn Chah is teaching. In some ways, the group that is gathered here is a motley crew. Close beside Ajahn Chah, or Luang Po, Venerable Father, as he is affectionately known to his students, are a cluster of bhikkhus, or monks, and novices. Most of them are Thai or Lao, but there are a few pale-skinned figures among them. A Canadian, 2 Americans, a young Australian, and an Englishman. In front of Ajahn sits a well-groomed, middle-aged couple, he in a stiff suit, and she coiffed and gold-bedecked. He's a member of parliament from a distant province. They're taking the opportunity while he's in the area on official business to come and pay their respects and make some offerings to the monastery. Sister Saiken, would you like to continue?
A little behind them, and to both sides, are scattered a sizable group of local villagers. Their shirts and blouses are worn thin, and the skin on their lean limbs is sun-darkened, wrinkled, baked like the poor earth of the region. A few of those here Luang Por played with as a child, catching frogs and climbing trees. Others he helped and was helped by in the years before he was a bhikkhu, as they planted out their annual round of rice seedlings and then harvested the fields together at the end of the monsoon. To one side, near the back, is a professor from Freiburg who has come to Thailand with a friend from her local Dharma, Sanskrit Dharma, group to study Buddhism. An American nun has come over with her from the women's section of the monastery to guide her through the forest paths and to translate. Beside them sit 3 or 4 other nuns, elder sisters from the nuns section, who decided to take the opportunity to come over as well to ask advice from Luang Por about an issue in the women's community and to request that he come over to their side of the forest and give a Dharma talk to their whole group. There's been several days now since he last paid them a visit. They have been there for a couple of hours already, so they pay their respects and take their leave, along with the other visitors from the nuns section. They need to be back before dark, and they are already a little late. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Second. Hey, Sister Chai Kwan, would you like to continue?
Near the back, almost at the edge of the pool of light, sits a stern-faced man in his 30s. He is half turned to one side, as if his presence there is uncomfortable, tentative. He is a local tough guy, a nut lang, deeply disdainful of all things supposedly religious. He, nevertheless, has a grudging respect for Luang Por, probably stemming as much from the monk's reputation for toughness and his powers of endurance as from the recognition that, as far as religious people go, he might be the real thing, but he's probably the only one worth bowing to in the whole province. He's angry and upset, sick at heart. A week ago, his beloved younger brother, who ran with his gang and with whom he had been through 1,000 scrapes, came down with cerebral malaria and was dead within days. Since then, he has felt as if his heart had a spear through it and that everything in the world had lost its flavor. If he had been killed in a knife fight, at least I could take revenge. What am I going to do? Track down the mosquito that bite him and kill him? Why not go see Luang Por Chah? A friend had said. So here he is. Thank you.
Thanks, Sister Chai Kwan. This is interesting. So this guy, deeply disdainful of all things supposedly religious, nevertheless has a grudging respect for Luang Por. Just from the reputation, he even said, "Oh, but he's probably the only one worth bowing to in the whole province." And then the next paragraph is mentioned that seems like he's a gangster who ran with his gang. But then his brother, instead of dying in a knife fight, actually died because of malaria. So he has to ask Luang Por for advice because of his brother's death. Sister Aikim, would you like to continue?
Luang Por smiles broadly as he makes a point, holding up a glass to illustrate his analogy. He has noticed the stark young figure in the shadows. Soon he has somehow managed to coax him to the front, as if he were reeling in a tough and wily fish. Next thing, the tough guy has his head in Luang Por's hand and is weeping like a baby. Next, he is somehow laughing at his own arrogance and self-obsession. He realizes that he is not the first or only person ever to have lost a dear one. The tears of rage and grief have turned to tears of relief. All of this happens with 20 total strangers around, yet the atmosphere is one of safety and trust. For although those assembled come from all walks of life and from all around the planet, they are all united at this one moment and place as Samadika, fellow Dharmafarers, or to use another expression from the Buddhist vernacular, they are all brothers and sisters in old age, sickness, and death, and thus belong to a single family. This kind of scenario was played out countless times during the 30 years that Ajahn Chah spent teaching, and it was often at such times that someone had the foresight to bring along a tape recorder and had managed to find enough batteries to keep it alive, and thus got some of the talks gathered in this book.
Okay. Thanks, Sister Akim. So this is like a moment for the gangster. After somehow the tough guy has his head, Long Paul's hands, weeping like a baby. And then he realizes he's not the first or only person to have lost a dear one. So this line, they are all united in this moment as brothers and sisters in old age, sickness and death. And we are all in a single family because of this. And then Ajahn Amaro proceed to mention that this kind of scenario has been happening a lot of times with Ajahn Chah. So it seems very beautiful. Okay, Sister Billy, would you like to continue?
Along with such longer expositions as are printed here, the reader should also know that more often than not, especially in such informal dialogues, the flow of teaching, and to whom in particular it was directed, was highly spontaneous and unpredictable. In many ways, when Ajahn Chah was teaching, he was like a master musician, both leading the flow of harmonious sound and yet producing it entirely in response to the natures and moods of the people he was with, integrating their words, feelings, and questions in the crucible of his heart and letting the responses flow forth freely. In any kind of crowd gathered around him, he might use an example of the right and wrong ways to peel a mango one moment, then be describing the nature of ultimate reality the next, with identical matter of fact from a familiarity. In one moment, he might be gruff and cold to the inflated, then charming and gentle to the shy. He might crack a joke with an old friend from the village, and with the next turn, took a corrupt police colonel in the eye and speak sincerely of the centrality of honesty on the path. Within a few minutes, he might scold a bhikkhu for being sloppily dressed. Then let his own robe slip off his shoulder and allow his rotund belly to show forth. A clever question from an academic type, seeking high-minded philosophical discussion to display his own acumen, might easily find Lompo's hand moving to remove his false teeth and then handing them to his attendant bhikkhu to be cleaned up a little. His interlocutor would then have to pass the test of the great master, responding to his profound question through broad lips folded in over his gums before his fresh set of teeth was installed.
Okay, thanks, Sister Billy.
Thank you.
Quite a funny paragraph. This one, sometimes you'll see if you attend some Dharma talks, sometimes you'll encounter these people. A clever question from an academic type, seeking high-minded philosophical discussion, just to display his own kind of smartness, acumen. And cracking a joke. So Long Paul is also known for his humor. So the point is, he's always highly spontaneous and unpredictable, adapting to the moments, to the needs of the disciples. Yeah, this is usually what the Buddha does as well. When he meet a disciple with, let's say, a certain disposition, the Buddha would adapt his teaching to fit that level of the student, so that the teachings the student can absorb most effectively. Simile is given is like a doctor. The doctor don't just give you one type of medicine for everyone, but if you have headache, you'll be given maybe Panadol. If you have flu, then you'll be given a cough syrup, lozenges. So that's a sign of a good doctor. And when the teacher adapts the teachings according to the needs of the student, that's the sign of a good teacher. Hey, Sister Singmei, would you like to continue?
Some of the talks in this collection were given in such spontaneous gatherings. Others were given on more formal occasions, such as after the recitation of the bhikkhu's rules, or to the whole assembly of laity and monastic on the weekly lunar observance night. However, whether they were of either the former or the later kind, Ajahn Chah never planned anything. Not one syllabus of the Dharma teachings printed here was thought out before he started speaking. This was an extremely important principle, he felt, as the job of the teacher was to get out of the way and to let the Dharma arise according to the needs of the moment. If it's not alive to the present, it's not Dharma, he would say. Once he invited the young Ajahn Sumedho, his first Western student, to give a talk to the assembly at the main monastery. Wat Pa Pong was a traumatic test, not only to have to speak to a couple of hundred people who were used to Ajahn Chah's high standard of wit and wisdom, but also to have to do it in Thai, a language he had only started learning 3 or 4 years before. His mind teemed with fears and ideas. He had been reading about the 6 realms of Buddhist cosmology and their correlation to psychological states, anger and the hell realms, sensual bliss and the heavenly realms, etc. He decided that this would be a good team, and he thought through all his ideas and the right phrases for them. On the midnight, Ajahn Sumedho gave what he felt was a pretty good exposition. And the next day, many members of the Sangha came up and said how much they had appreciated his words. He felt relieved and quite pleased with himself. Sometime later, in a quiet moment, Ajahn Chah caught his attention, fixed him with a direct look, and gently said, "Don't ever do that again."
Okay, thanks, Sister Singhui. Okay, so the point of these 2 paragraphs is that Ajahn Chah would love to be spontaneous. He never planned anything. If it's not alive to the present, it's not the Dharma. The job of the teacher was to get out of the way and to let the Dharma arise according to the needs of the moment. So he disagreed with Ajahn Sumedho for preparing his talks, which I think most people would do, or to prepare the talk. So I'm not too sure about this. But then Ajahn Chah said to Ajahn Sumedho, "Don't ever do that again." Okay, let me check how long we have. Okay, this is the last line actually. This style of teaching was not unique to Ajahn Chah, but is that espoused throughout what is known as the Thai forest tradition. Perhaps it would be helpful at this point to describe the character and the origins of this lineage to give a little more sense of the context from which Ajahn Chah's wisdom has sprung. With that, we have finished the first section of the introduction. Next time, we will continue with, we will explore the forest tradition. Any questions or comments for this section?
I think the introduction has really summarized a lot. I mean, only the first section, right, that we read has summarized quite a bit of what we know of Ajahn Chah. Unpredictable. Yeah. So look forward to more of his teachings.
Yes. In fact, yeah, this is just a very short summary because the whole life of Ajahn Chah is also in another book called Still Flowing Water. That one probably was, if I recall correctly, around 1,000 pages or more. So we just have a glimpse of what Ajahn Chah's life looked like. So
And we're also very lucky because I don't know when was this, but not there, right, to get to hear his teaching in person. So it's very lucky that like the intro just now says somehow someone will have a recorder there waiting, before the batteries run up, they record. So it's very thankful to all these conditions. At least we are not living in the forest, we are living in the comfort of the city, and our life at home, you can still learn these profound teachings.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel it's sounds very simple messages, and the Ajahns keep repeating, but somehow somehow listen differently in different occasions, and the digestion is different.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's very fortunate to be able to encounter the Dharma. Yeah. Not many people have the opportunities to encounter the Dharma like us. So you listen to some of his recordings, Sister Billy?
Oh no, don't get to that benefit. It's just that when after they record, then they do all these writings, right? They must be in Thai. Then from Thai they have to translate to English. Then so it's really a lot of good conditions before it reaches us. Yeah, and then last time we got such nice collected books on those very small book. I still remember I chanced upon, and it attracted my eyes because the title sounds very nice. A Still Pool of Water. Very small book only. Yeah. So from there, and then now is his teachings has flourished. So it's very fortunate.
That's true.
If a few lines for me, it's too profound. so I remember when I first know about his teachings, his message to us was every day you just put in your mind uncertain, impermanent, suffering. Then I started only when I first started work, and I'll go to office every day. I told myself uncertain, impermanent, suffering. Not easy, not easy. I must say not easy. So his message is really simple, true, but due to my own defilements, it's not easy to be mindful of all these. But it's so important. Keep practicing.
Yeah, that's true. I also recall, I think someone translated Ajahn Chah's recording and uploaded it to YouTube as well. So if I find that, I'll share in the group chat. Okay. Thanks for the comments, Sister Billy. Anyone else would like to add on? If not, Sister Xinghui, would you like to do the dedication?
愿消三障诸烦恼， 愿得智慧真明了，我愿具障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。
Thanks, Sister Xinghui. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a spontaneous Monday ahead.